Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Township of Mapleton Council meeting for Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. Welcome everybody that's in here and welcome everybody that's online. And if you can, please stand for O Canada. Thank you, everybody. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? Confirmation of minutes. Moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that the minutes of the Township of Mapleton Council meeting held on January 27th, 2026 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Any comments, questions? All in favor? It's carried. We have no matters arising from the minutes. We go to number 6, which is matters under the Planning Act. We'll have a public meeting under the Planning Act to hear comments from the public and agencies and give consideration to application ZBA 2026-01 for a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Subject lands are located at Part Lot 21, Concession 14, RP 60R 1362, Part 1, with a municipal address of 7184 14th Line. The entire property is 1.2 hectares, which is 3 acres in size, and is occupied by a church. Purpose and effect is to the proposed amendment will rezone the lands to an appropriate zone to permit the expansion of the existing Mennonite church parking area. The rezoning will also address MDS1 reductions to the surrounding livestock facilities. This rezoning is a condition of consent application B45/25 that received provisional approval in October 2025 to permit a lot line adjustment from the adjacent farm parcel to enlarge the parking lot for the church. Mr. Clerk, statutory requirements, please.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. There's a comment summary included in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed. Source water protection had no concerns. GRCA comments are in the package. And County of Wellington comments from their planner, Jamie Barnes, are also attached. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And we'll hear from the planner, Linda Redmond.
Thank you, Mayor. As already stated, this is a condition of consent application that received provisional approval in the fall. And so this is required in order to allow the use to expand onto this farmland that was obtained as part of the lot line adjustment. A few things I want to point out is that in the past, the current church is zoned institutional, which is historically what these uses have been zoned throughout the rural area. And when we see expansions to these uses, we prefer to rezone them to an agricultural zone with a site-specific exemption that outlines what it can be used for. And the purpose behind this is that Number one, institutional zoning really doesn't align with the county official plan policies for primate lands, so that's one reason. But the other reason is that it provides some clarification for MDS for the surrounding livestock facilities. It doesn't form a type B use. There is some interpretation there, but if it was zoned institutional, it does become a type B use for any expansion of the surrounding livestock facilities. So that requires a greater setback. So by putting it in an ag zone with a site-specific exemption, you potentially leave it in as an A type use for those purposes. So it helps to mitigate potential expansion of those buildings, which is good. We don't want to create a situation where they can't expand. The other reason, the other zoning that's happening on the property is that the Grand River Conservation Authority, in their comments, asked that there's a very small portion of the front of this property that has a natural environment zone. There's a bit of a hazard land in there. And they asked that it be expanded a little bit to align with their regulated space, their regulated area. So the natural environment zoning is supposed to align with their regulated area, but in some cases, in some of the mapping throughout the township, it doesn't align because they have, since the natural environment zoning was put in place, which follows the GRCA mapping, since then, which was in 2010, the GRCA has further refined certain areas through their various processes that they go through to properly map their regulated area. So this is one of those where they have an actual properly regulated area. So they've asked us to now update our mapping to reflect that, which is fine. We have no problem with that, because even if an application came in for any kind of a building permit, the GRCA would be circulated and their regulated area would take over from our zoning anyway. So we're just making it easy and clear for everybody to see where the protected lands are to be on that property, and no development should occur in that area. So that's the second matter. And then the third matter that we're addressing through this zone amendment is that there is a barn that is impacted by the lot line adjustment, by the enlargement of this property. So we've added into the zoning, or it's proposed to be added into the zoning, that barn would not be, that this lot line adjustment is deemed to meet that setback requirement. It's like it's a variance being written into the zoning. So that was also a condition of the consent that MDS has addressed, so this is how we're addressing it. And also stipulated in the site-specific exemption that this use is to be considered a type A use for the purposes of MDS for surrounding livestock expansions or new buildings, further clarifying that we want this to be reviewed as a type A use in the future. So those are the three things that we've included in as part of this amendment. One thing that's not included in here that the applicants have asked is that they would like the site-specific exemption to also include the potential that they could utilize this building and this property to have a school as well as the church in the future if the need arises. And we have no concerns with that, adding that provision in the site-specific exemption if that's council's wish. It makes perfect sense to utilize this property for that use. When they're not using it for a church, they can use it for a school building, and it makes a lot of sense. So if council wishes, we can add that as part of their site-specific to include church and a school, or a place of worship and a school. Otherwise, we have no concerns with the application.
Thank you, Linda. Rod, do you have something to add?
Not really. Thank you, Linda.
Just hit the mic there.
There, I pressed the right button. I'm an old geezer.
Yeah, I know, but now you're on audio and video, and people are listening to you, so don't mess up.
Don't say anything wrong. Okay. But I think Linda, your planner, has addressed or mentioned everything that is critical. Yes, we would like to have the potential for a school on the property as well, because there is that possibility in the future. Now, for that to happen, there's a number of other processes that have to take place, so it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it is a possibility, and we would like to keep it open. I can understand why we want to why you'd like to have it changed to an agricultural exemption instead of an institutional. You might not want a big correctional facility on the property for some reason or other, you know. So yes, with the changes that are being made to this, I think they are consistent with what clients would like to see done. And I think I just would like to thank staff. They've been very helpful, very cooperative. And of course yourself too, because you sit on Land Division Committee, you were helpful there too. So we really do appreciate it when people work together. If we all work together, we can come up with a good answer to the problems we face. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finney. Are there any comments from those in attendance? Please indicate so and state your name and address for the record. We'll first hear and those in support of the zoning application. Anybody here wishing to speak in support of it? Anybody here wishing to speak in opposition to it? I'm seeing the faces not doing anything. Perfect. Like that. Questions from council members then? Open that up for questions. Councilor Reid?
Through your mayor to the planner, I just want to confirm, we're talking about a new building being proposed on this lot for a school, or we're talking about just using the same building as a school?
The zoning would not require that the same building be used. Like if they want to build another building, they could do that now with the zoning they have. There's no stipulation that it has to be in the same building. They could come in and get a building permit for another building.
Thank you. Further questions? Councilor Martin?
Thank you. What do you need? Do you need a second motion to include the adjustment to the zoning, to include the school, or it's already being proposed in there? Okay.
Yeah, that resolution's coming, and we'll look at that in a moment. Any questions on the application for the planner or Mr. Finney? Okay. This public meeting is now concluded. Thank you, everyone, for attending the public meeting. So the resolution that we have here is moved by Councillor Otten, seconded by Councillor Woodham. The Township Mapleton Council received from information planning report ZBA 2026-01 dated February 10th, 2026 regarding Part Lot 21, Concession 14, and is municipally known as 7184 14th line. Now, Linda, what do you need added to this? Just receive for information is what it is right now.
Well, it's in the minutes that we've had a discussion that I'm going to add school to the site-specific zoning, so we can leave it alone and it'll come back with that to the next council.
Thank you. That's what I need to hear. You okay with that, Mr. Martin? Okay. Okay, perfect. Any further questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you all for coming. Next item up is item 8.1. Resolution here is moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens. The Township Mapleton Council received for information the minutes of the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee as convened on December 3rd, 2025 at the Wellington County Museum and Archives. Any questions on this report? All in favor? It's carried. Now we are going to move the items on the agenda around a little bit. So instead of going to item number 9, we're actually going to item number 16, which is a closed session. Moved by Councillor Reid, second by Councillor Martin, that Township Mapleton Council move into a closed session to consider the following subject matter: advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. All in favor? That's carried. We are now going into closed session. And welcome back, everyone. Come back into the open session after having our close. There's nothing to report out from our closed session. And we'll carry on with our item 9.1, which is a building department report, December 2025 month-end building department report. Mike, what do you got for us?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Another typical December for us. A little slowdown from all the snow. 8 permits got out. It's pretty typical. 2024 is a bit of an outlier if you're looking at our graph, because that was uncertainty over code changes. We had a lot of new permits applied for in 2024. But yeah, it was an average December, still all farms, and we're hoping to pick it up again soon.
Thank you. So we have the resolution moved by Councillor Otten, seconded by Councillor Woodham. The Township of Mapleton Council received information. Building Department Report BD 2026-01 dated February 10, 2026 regarding permit activity for the month of December 2025. Any questions for Mike? All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to item 9.2, we have the clerk's report on the firearms discharge bylaw. Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, sir. I do have a couple of letters of input from the public to read into the minutes. The first one is from Benjamin Allen. He says, "Good afternoon. I'm writing," he's from Alma, or I'm writing regarding Council's consideration of municipal regulations as reported in the following article, which was Guelph Today. Firearms use is regulated federally. Where, when, and with what caliber of firearm is already controlled through federal legislation, regulation, and orders in council. As well, Mr. Fondacaro's neighbors must have passed the federally mandated licensing course, which addresses the safe use and discharge of firearms. While I am not a farmer, my property within the town of Alma backs onto a farm field. From my home, I hear firearms discharge for both protection of livestock and target practice, and I have no concerns. No further regulation is desired, required, or necessary. Please feel free to reach out if you wish to discuss further. Thank you. Benjamin Allen, P. Eng, Alma, Ontario. And a further letter from Nick Gross. Good day, Council. I am writing in regards to the article below, also Guelph Today. Mapleton has a strong heritage of being a hunting community, and with all the farming taking place, firearms and their use are an integral part of our daily life. As a local farmer with land in close distance to town, I am often required to use my firearms to protect animals from wildlife that has been fed in town and is migrating to harm my livestock. Last year alone, I lost over 40 chickens to wildlife encounters. Without being able to use and train to effectively use my firearms to protect my livestock, it would be an even more devastating issue. As a responsible firearms owner, I'm aware of the current legal framework and the discharge rules, and am able to comply with them and still train on my farm. The firearm use in rural areas is highly regulated on a federal level, and trying to mix in around this on a municipal level would be a bad idea. There already is discharge distance and safety regulations in place. If you would like to ask any questions, please feel to reach out to me. Thank you, Nick Gross from Alma. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The resolution I have here is 9.21, moved by Councillor Woodham, seconded by Councillor Ottens. The Township of Mapleton Council received information, Clerk's Report CL 2026-01, regarding investigation of relevant municipal firearms bylaws as per Council Resolution 2025-19-10. I'll open it up for comments and questions from members of council then. Seeing none. I'd just like to thank Mr. Fondacaro for bringing this to our attention and for his participation a couple council meetings ago to discuss the issue that he's perceived. So the resolution is here. I'll call the question. All in favor of this resolution? Opposed? It's passed. Moving on to item 9.31, we have here the transfer payment agreement, Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund Intake 2 top-up. Turn that over to Mr. Patrick Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. This is more of a housekeeping report, but just for a reminder, earlier last year, mid of last year, the township was approved for funding under the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund. That funding of just over $9.8 million is going towards the water and wastewater treatment plant project as part of the Phase 1 projects of Northern Maple Utilities. We're actually pleased with the way the province is structuring these new transfer payment agreements based on milestones instead of individual claims and tracking. It's reducing some of the burden on staff. So getting this transfer payment agreement approved by council, submitted back to the province, hits milestone 1, at which point we would get up to 25% of the total funding approved. So that's approximately $2.5 million coming in. The report is there, and later on in the bylaws section, a bylaw was added to the agenda. We missed it prior to the meeting, but as the report states, we're looking for council to approve receiving the report for information, and then later in the agenda, consider passage of the bylaw that allows the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Always good news when everything comes together, and we've talked about this before with council and staff, working through the different ministers and with MPP Matt Ray assisting us all along the way. We come up with just shy of $10 million from the province on our water and wastewater project. And that's fantastic news for this township and for the ratepayers of Drayton and Moorfield that are on the water and wastewater. That changed the 12-year outlook from a 5.5% increase yearly to a 3.5% increase just from this, I'm going to say, donation from the province. It's fantastic. I do have here, moved by Councillor Reid, second by Councillor Martin, that bylaw 2026-005, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a transfer payment agreement between the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Corporation of Township of Mapleton, be hereby ready first, second, and third time. Finally passes 10th day of February 2026. Mr. Kelly, you have the...
Yeah, through you, Mayor, to the clerk. I think we need to pass the resolution from the report first, correct? And then we'll pass the bylaw.
Oh, my apologies. It's all mixed up here. Hang on. There it is. Okay. My apologies. Here it is, 9.31. That council received report FIN 2026-04 for information, and further that council consider passage of a bylaw authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund Transfer Payment Agreement. That's the one you were looking for, Mr. Kelly? Okay, we'll do that one first. All in favor? That's carried. Now we'll move into the other one, moved by Councillor Reid, second by Councillor Martin. That bylaw 2026-005 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the transfer payment agreement between the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Corporation of Township of Mapleton, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passes 10th day of February 2026. Any questions on this? All in favor? That's a document the clerk and I will be happy to sign. Can we dispose of these two? I never did these, and Mr. Grossen is up right there. All right. Continue on. Right, so item number 11 is correspondence for council's direction. This is moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reid, that Township of Mapleton Council received for information the invitation extended by Maitland Valley Conservation Authority to attend their annual general meeting scheduled for Wednesday, February 18, 2026 at 2:00 p.m. and that council members advise the clerk of their intention to attend in order that the RSV can be sent. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to item number 12, we have a number of items for council's information. Anybody wishing to speak or question any of those 8 items? All right, moving on then. Other business, item 15.1, moved by Councilor Reid, second by Councilor Martin. The Township of Mapleton Council received information, Mayor Davidson's January 2026 county report to Mapleton Council, plus the accompanying recyclable materials list. Comments or questions on that? Councilor Reid?
Through you, Mayor, I just had a question in regards to the Rothsay retender. So there's conversation in your report about that specific location being retendered, and if it again comes over budget. I'm just wondering if we have a contingency plan and what alternatives county staff may have identified should we be unable to continue operating that location.
So right now it's up for discussion. That tender came out, and as you rightly point out, that site has been talked about for many years of being closed. If the tender comes in over budget, I would suspect that that's what the conversation is going to be with council around the table there, with the solid waste staff, is whether or not we will maintain it the way it is, which likely won't happen. And then it would just be the site down in Center Wellington, which is the most busiest site that they were just finishing up, doing the works there and expanding it, or Harriston, which would be the 2 closest ones for the Mapleton Township folks. So, yeah, we're having those discussions at County Council about that site. And I'm really hoping that this time the tender comes in under budget. Last time when they tendered it, it was quite a bit over the budget that was put in place. And being that the Rothsay site is the lowest used site of all of the transfer stations, that's why it's looking, if it doesn't come in right at tender, that it would be closed. Every site is being outfitted with scales, because they have to weigh all the vehicles coming in with the amount. So if they can't get the scales in there and put a proper scale house in for the staff, that's what the issue is. They need to have a better place for staff to operate. They can't use an outside porta potty forever. They need to have a proper facility. So that's a discussion that's at the table. Did I answer anything? Yep. Okay. Councilor Martin?
Can we carry that theme on? It does feel a little bit like there's kind of an ongoing agenda to try and close that thing down. Are you confident that the budget that's in place for that project is actually adequate to do what needs to be done? Because you're going to be talking about an entire, the southern part of Mapleton, from our side of Wallenstein, that we're going to expect them to drive to Harriston, or, right? So then you get into illegal dumping, then I get, usage and all that stuff. We also don't make it very easy for people to use our sites either. Tipping fees continue to go up. Everyone's being encouraged to use curbside pickup, which is great, but it feels a little bit like Mapleton's kind of pushing against some barriers to try and keep that open. Are you confident, I guess, is my question, that the budget's there?
They have reworked what is going to be done at that site, so I am a little bit confident, more so than it was before. They've cut back. They're not going to pave the site like they were going to be before, building retaining walls, things like that. So they've retendered it with a lower amount of work than was previously tendered. So it will not be the same as all the other sites that are paved and have everything in. But the hope is that it will come in at or lower, and that we'll be able to keep that site open. That's what my hope is, and I keep having that discussion and keep pushing that. I've been trying to keep that site on the forefront and keep it up. But when it comes to tender And if it comes in over, then this council needs to let county know that it's not acceptable to close it. And I would suggest that this council at that point, that we would make sure that we do a resolution to county council about that, because it's very important that our residents don't have to go to Harrison or don't have to go to Center Wellington. I know some of them already do. And all of our sites that we talk about the tipping fees, we're trying to get away from the sites being garbage and make it more recycling centers. So recycling mattresses, recycling shingles, recycling things like that, so that we can keep more of that out of the landfill. So that was a whole goal. I was on solid waste since I got on county council back in 2014, 2015. And this is the first time in my almost 12 years now that I haven't been on solid waste. But that was always the push, even when I was chair of solid waste, was to change everything to recycling centers, get the curbside better, and then make our landfills last a lot longer by taking out all of those shingles and mattresses and things like that take up so much space. Got to read again?
Thank you. It says in your report that we're expecting to see that presented the first half of 2026, knowing we're only in February. Do we know when in 2026, or
No
it's
idea at this time.
not at this time? And when
Yeah.
we do find out, that would be through another report from you,
It'll
through county council?
come to committee and then council of the tendering process, and it'll go out there at that point.
And
So
that-
I'll be able to find out when it's going to happen, and I'll be reporting back to council.
And that's when we could then have a discussion at that point?
Absolutely. I think that if it comes back that county council is not looking at going with the process, the tendering process, or the construction program, if it comes in over budget, then I think this council definitely needs to speak up for the residents of the community. Anything further on this? Councilor Martin?
Mr. Mayor, I did enjoy your finance section, considering that MPAC was just in here recently, and the assessed farm values. It's rather comical. Point me in the direction to buy a farm for 1.8 on the high side, right? We just had a farm go up, was it 7-8 million, I think, for the Mapleton Organic Farm. So it kind of gets you, there's your discrepancy.
Yep. And we could talk about it all the time, and I even had the discussion today, with our, the amount of farms we have, the value of the farming we have here is second in the Ontario. So that's pretty significant. We as Mr. Kelly had pointed out, we are a generator when it comes to food and livestock in Ontario. And that's seen by the value of our farms and our farmland here. And just for council, currently in the process of writing a letter to the federal government, to the Federal Ministry of Infrastructure. And that letter does indicate about our property and our farm and we have here, and that we need to be treated differently with federal money coming our way. So it's something I'm working on right now. Anything? Go ahead, Councilor Ottens.
Yes, thank you, through your mayor. Yeah, just to elaborate on what you previously said, I think our building department showed that there was 50 million invested by our farmers just in the past year, which shows what an incredible business farming is in a place the size of Mapleton. But on this report, I just had wonder if you could elaborate on the part about in front of Drayton Heights School. You'll see the trial of centerline medians and centerline bollards. So will the medians be raised?
So if you see in the
How
agenda,
is-
you'll see the pictures there. In the third picture
Yeah.
over, you'll see these big hunks of concrete
Yeah.
with some posts on it. That's the median. That's those pieces that are going to be in place. And so that will narrow down the lanes with the hope that it's going to slow down the vehicles in there. So that is going to be only at 3 locations out of the 7. We're going to test it, one of the testing spots here in Mapleton for the width of the road. And I look at that as a positive because we have so many parents crossing the road there. This will almost give them that little refuge as well in the middle. I don't want it to become a false sense of security, though, that that's there. And, yeah, so, and they, of course, those signs that have 40 on it or whatever, that's going to be put in place as well on that stretch to slow vehicles down.
To elaborate, thank you, to elaborate on that, will those raised medians affect farm equipment coming through town? Because they're wider.
That's why we're testing it and see what it does. So hopefully, they've measured it out. They've
they
measured it out,
removable?
and they say that it'll fit. So they say. I don't know how many of those big farm vehicles go past the
Well,
school there, but
It only takes one.
maybe they have to go over top of them. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's a test, and I see Mr.
Okay.
Morgan over there just smiling away. So, yeah, they're trying different things at different locations to slow vehicles down as per the provincial government's mandate
Yes,
to us instead of having automated speed enforcement.
okay, thank you. You know my feeling on those bollards. I always like those. I think that's kind of, because they tip, these ones would tip if someone drives like
Correct.
a farm piece of
And they're going to
farm
be put in place as well
Right.
in that area. The cement blocky things, I don't know. Well, we'll see how that pans out. Anything further on this report? All in favor? Carried. Is there any other business on 15 that anybody needs to bring up? Councilor Reid?
Through your mayor, I just wanted to bring forward some information about the Minto Mapleton Coldest Night of the Year on February 28th. As team captain of the Mapleton Mitten Crew, along with Councillor Ottens, we're going to be taking part in walking the 5 kilometers for Coldest Night of the Year. It helps support our people in our community through raising funds for the Community Resource Center of North and Center Wellington. We are both proud to support such an important cause, and we thank everyone who's already donated towards it. We're already at $700 raised. If anyone's interested in walking with us as part of our team or donating, to reach out to any of us, and also online. And thank you to everyone who donated.
All right, thank you.
I also have a second, if
You
that's
got
okay.
another one? Go
Yep,
ahead.
sure. I'd like to briefly address council on the awareness of community events that we would normally, excuse me, be attending. I've been made aware of a few events lately where council or the township are listed as supporting them, and we've not all been included or informed of the event in order to participate or donate towards it. I raise this in reference to our civics event policy, which took effect January 1st, 2025, which noted that council members are to, at a minimum, be informed of the upcoming community event, and having consistent awareness to one another would help ensure that all of us have the same opportunity to participate or support important initiatives within our community. And I'm just bringing this forward as a reminder to us all of this policy and to encourage a consistent communication process going forward in 2026 so that council can remain aligned and also informed of these events.
Thank you. Anything further? All right. Item 17 then, with confirmatory bylaw. Moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Reid, that bylaw number 2026-004, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of Township of Mapleton, be hereby read it first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed with a corporate seal. All in favor? It's carried. We are adjourned. Mr. Clerk, 7:47.